Hello anime fans, today's video gonna touch on my top sports anime of all time. Some of them I liked in my childhood and still do, and some are recent from what I have watched up to this point, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's start with this video. First anime of my list that I will mention here is Eyeshield 21. Shy, reserved and smart-statured Daimon High School student Sena Kobayakawa is the perfect target for bullies. However, as a result of running errands throughout his life, Sena has become agile and developed a skill for avoiding crowds of people. After the cunning Yoichi Hiruma, captain of the Daimon Devil Bats football team, witnesses Sena's rapid legs in motion, he coerced the timid boy into joining his squad. As Hiruma wants to conceal Sena's identity from other clubs, Sena is forced to hide under the visored helmet of Eyeshield 21, a mysterious running back wearing the number 21 jersey. The legendary Eyeshield 21 can supposedly run at the speed of light and has achieved remarkable feats in the United States during his time at the Notre Dame College. Accustomed to avoiding his problems in the past, Sena's speciality might just help him become the new secret weapon of the Daimon Devil Bats. As he interacts with his new teammates, Sena gradually gains more self-confidence and forges valuable bonds along the way. The second anime on this list is Ace of Diamond, and its summary is: with a stray pitch that completely missed the batter, Eijun Sawamura loses his final mid-school baseball game. Frustrated by this defeat, Eijun and his teammates vow to reach the national tournament once they are in high school. But everything changes when a scout unexpectedly invites him to Tokyo's prestigious Seido High School after seeing the potential in his unusual pitching style. Encouraged by his teammates, Eijun accepts the offer, ready to improve his skills and play at a much more competitive level of baseball. However, now surrounded by a large number of skilled players, Eijun struggles to find his place on the team. He declares that he will one day become the team's ace, but that's only if fellow first-year Satoru Furuya doesn't take the title first, with his breakneck fastballs that earn him a coveted spot on the starting roster. With the addition of these talented new players to an already powerful lineup, the Seido baseball team aims to become the best in Japan, facing off against a number of formidable foes that stand in their way. After that, there is Captain Tsubasa J, which is my favorite season out of all the Captain Tsubasa series anime-wise, because of the direction and soundtracks, and especially because it was the first sports anime that I was attached to a lot during my childhood. In short, it is an iconic series that everyone should watch. The story is about Tsubasa Ozora, a young Japanese elementary school student who is deeply in love with football and dreams one day of winning the World Cup. Roberto becomes a mentor to Tsubasa and helps him to harness his football skills, convincing him to join Nankatsu Elementary and its fledgling high school football team, where Roberto becomes their coach and teaches them the tricks and trades of the game. Tsubasa also meets Taro Misaki, who has traveled around Japan due to his father's job, and soon joins Nankatsu, and the two become the best of friends in both the pitch and real life, forming a partnership soon to be renowned as the dynamic duo of Nankatsu. His Nankatsu squad wins numerous youth national championships and wins the International Junior Youth Tournament for Japan, before leaving the country to play in Sao Paulo, Brazil. As a huge fan of basketball, I would say I enjoy Slam Dunk the most. This anime is the most realistic one to date. Don't get me wrong, there are other great shows, but for me Slam Dunk have an edge on the rest. Hanamichi Sakuragi, infamous for his temper, massive hate and fire red hair, enrolls in Shohoku High, hoping to finally get a girlfriend and break his record of being rejected 50 consecutive times in middle school. His notoriety precedes him, however, leading to him being avoided by most students. Soon after certain events, Hanamichi is left with two unwavering thoughts: I hate basketball, and I desperately need a girlfriend. One day, a girl named Haruko Akagi approaches him without any knowledge of his troublemaking ways and asks him if he likes basketball. Hanamichi immediately falls head over heels in love with her. Blurting out a fervent affirmative, she then leads him to the gymnasium, where she asks him if he can do a slam dunk. In an attempt to impress Haruko, he makes the leap but overshoots, instead slamming his head straight into the blackboard. When Haruko informs the basketball team's captain of Hanamichi's near-inhuman physical capabilities, he slowly finds himself drawn into the camaraderie and competition of the sport he had previously held resentment for. Hajime no Ippo. Man, what a roller coaster is this anime. Since the first season, I got hooked immediately from the first episode. It touches on some topics like bullying and redemption with some great comedy. If by chance you still didn't watch it, what are you doing? This anime is just gold, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So without further ado, let's get to the summary. Makunoichi Ippo has been bullied his entire life, constantly running errands and being beaten up by his classmates. Ippo has always dreamed of changing himself, but never has the passion to act upon it. One day, in the midst of yet another bullying, Ippo is saved by Takamura Mamoru, who happens to be a boxer. Ippo faints from his injuries and is brought to the Kamogawa boxing gym to recover. As he regains consciousness, he is awed and amazed at his new surroundings in the gym. Though lacks confidence to attempt anything, Takamura places a photo of Ippo's classmates on a punching bag and forces him to punch it. It is only then that Ippo feels something stir inside him and eventually asks Takamura to train him in boxing. Thinking that Ippo does not have what it takes, Takamura gives him a task deemed impossible and gives him a 1-week time limit. With a sudden desire to get stronger for himself and his hard-working mother, Ippo trains relentlessly to accomplish the task within the time limit. Thus, Ippo's journey to the top of the boxing world begins. Buzzer Beater is another basketball anime I like. It's made by the same mangaka who made Slam Dunk. While it isn't as good, it's decent enough to be in this list. Hideyoshi is a homeless boy living in New York in the near future who survives by hustling other kids in basketball games. But now he's been drafted into a pro team with a very unique goal. There once was a time when humans dominated the game of basketball, but times have changed, and now the physically superior alien players have taken over the game, and there are barely any human players left. But Hideyoshi's team, the first all-human team to compete in the Space League, intends to change all that and bring the championship back home to Earth. After being drafted into the Earth team, a basketball team comprised solely of humans, Street Punk turned pro Hideyoshi couldn't be more cocky. The team is still up against the Garans, a physically superior race of aliens who have dominated the game for some time. New challenges and problems stand in their way. Hideyoshi is unhappy with the team and the Garans have new tricks up their sleeves. Megalobox was a surprise for me when I watched it, especially the second season, which showed another side of Joe and his teammates. The first season was like a full action-packed boxgasm, but the second season was darker and more emotional for me. Either way, they both were amazing. To be quiet and do as you're told, that's a cowardly choice. These are the words of Junk Dog, an underground fighter of Megalobox, an evolution of boxing that utilizes mechanical limbs known as gear to enhance the speed and power of its users. Despite the young man's brimming potential as a boxer, the illegal nature of his participation forces him to make a living off of throwing matches as dictated by his boss Gansaku Nambu. However, this all changes when the Megalobox champion Yuri enters his shabby ring under the guise of just another challenger. Taken out in a single round, Junk Dog is left with a challenge: if you're serious about fighting me again, then fight your way up to me and my ring. Filled with overwhelming excitement and backed by the criminal syndicate responsible for his thrown matches, Junk Dog enters Megalonia, a world-spanning tournament that will decide the strongest Megalo boxer of them all. Having no name of his own, he takes on the manuker of Joe, as he begins his climb from the very bottom of the ranked list of fighters. With only 3 months left to qualify, Joe must face off against opponents the likes of which he has never fought in order to meet the challenge of his rival. Ashita no Joe was the piece that was used as an inspiration for Megalobox. At least that's what I feel. If you had enjoyed it, watch this one as it has similar plot, although it's a lot older. Old is gold. Joe Yabuki is a troubled youth, whose only solution to problems is throwing punches at them. What he lacks in manners and discipline, he makes up for with his self-taught fighting skills. One day, while wandering the slums of Doya, Joe gets into a fight with the local gang. Although greatly outnumbered, he effortlessly defeats them, drawing the attention of Danpei Tang, a former boxing coach turned alcoholic. Seeing his potential, he offers to train Joe into Japan's greatest boxer. At first, Joe dismisses Danpei as a hopeless drunk, but after the trainer saves his life, he agrees to live with him and learn the art of boxing. Unfortunately, Joe's personality makes him an unruly student and he often falls back to his old ways. To survive the harsh world of his new career, Joe needs to trust his mentor and master the techniques taught to him. However, the road to becoming a professional boxer is rife with struggles that will test his mettle to the end. Yabuki Joe is left downhearted and hopeless after a certain tragic event in an attempt to put the past behind him. Joe leaves the gym behind and begins wandering. On his travels, he comes across the likes of Wolf Kanaguchi and Goromaki Gondo, men who unintentionally found the dying embers inside him, leading him to putting his wanderings to an end. His return home puts Joe back on the path to boxing, but unknown to himself and his trainer, he now suffers deep-set issues holding him back from fighting. In an attempt to quell those issues, Carlos Rivera, a world-renowned boxer, is invited from Venezuela to help Joe recover. Haikyuu. ever since having witnessed the little giant and his astonishing skills on the volleyball court, Shoyo Hinata has been bewitched by the dynamic nature of the sport. Even though his attempt to make his debut as a volleyball regular during a middle school tournament went up in flames, he longs to prove that his less than impressive height ceases to be a hindrance in the face of his sheer will and perseverance. When Hinata enrolls in Karasuno High School, the little giant's alma mater, he believes that he is one step closer to his goal of becoming a professional volleyball player. Although the school only retains a shadow of its former glory, Hinata's conviction isn't shaken until he learns that Tobio Kageyama, the prodigy who humiliated Hinata's middle school volleyball team in a crushing defeat, is now his teammate. To fulfill his desire of leaving a mark on the realm of volleyball, so often regarded as the domain of the tall and the strong, Hinata must smooth out his differences with Kageyama. Only when Hinata learns what it takes to be a part of a team will he be able to join the race to the top in earnest. Aoki Densetsu Shoot. Inspired by Yoshiharu Kubo's phenomenal performance that led Kakegawa High School to a miraculous victory in a soccer tournament, Toshihiko Tanaka decides to enter the same school as his idol and join the soccer club, hoping to become as successful as Kubo. Now a high school freshman, Tanaka is devastated as his expectations suddenly start falling apart. Kubo, the captain of the club, is absent due to illness. To make matters worse, the freshmen are not allowed to practice alongside the sophomores or become regulars on the team. The final nail in the coffin is the reluctance of Tanaka's friends Kinji Shiraishi and Kazuhiro Hiramatsu to join him in the club. Although Tanaka and his friends were once known as a deadly soccer trio in their junior high school days, Kinji and Kazuhiro have both quit soccer for personal reasons. When Tanaka starts to lose hope, an encounter with Kazumi Endo, a girl from his childhood, becomes the unexpected key to his freedom from despair. The disappointed Kazumi wants to see the trio reunite, so she takes matters into her own hands in her mischievous way. Thus Tanaka's high school soccer career prepares for the kickoff. Kuroko no basket. For the last 3 years, Teiko Middle School has dominated the national basketball scene with its legendary lineup, the Generation of Miracles. It consisted of 5 prodigies who excelled at the sport, but a phantom sixth man lurked in the shadows and helped earn the team their revered status. Eventually, their monstrous growth jaded them from the sport they loved and made them go their separate ways in high school. In search of new members, the Seirin High School basketball team recruits Taiga Kagami and Tetsuya Kuroko, 2 freshmen who seem to have significant differences in abilities. Having returned recently from America, Kagami has both a natural attitude and relentless love for the sport. Meanwhile, Kuroko lacks presence and exhibits no outstanding athletic talent. However, it is later revealed that he is Teiko's phantom sixth man, the player once part of the Generation of Miracles. Kuroko wants to prove to the Seirin team that he is strong enough in his own way. Seeing his conviction, Kagami forms a dynamic partnership with Kuroko, the latter promising to support Kagami's light as his shadow. Alongside their new Seirin teammates, they aim to conquer the upcoming Inter-High Championship. But the reappearance of Kuroko's former teammates complicates their plan. The Prince of Tennis. At the request of his father, tennis prodigy Ryoma Ichizen has returned from America and is ready to take the Japanese tennis scene by storm. Aiming to become the best tennis player in the country, he enrolls in Seishun Academy, home to one of the best middle school tennis teams in Japan. After Ryoma catches the captain's eye, he finds himself playing for a spot on the starting lineup in the intra-school ranking matches despite only being a freshman. Due to his age, the rest of the Seishun boys tennis team are initially reluctant to accept him, but his skill and determination convinces them to let him in. Armed with their new super rookie, Seishun sets out to claim a spot in the national tournament, hoping to take the coveted title for themselves. In order to do so, the team must qualify by playing through the Tokyo, Prefectural and Kanto regionals. Yet the road ahead of them is shared by a plethora of strong schools, each playing tennis in unique ways of their own reasons. Ryoma and his teammates must learn to cooperate if they want to become the champions they aspire to be. The night in the area. Kakeru and Suguru are brothers who have both a flaming passion for soccer. While Suguru becomes a rising star in the Japanese youth soccer system, Kakeru decides to take on a managerial role after struggling on the field. But due to a cruel twist of fate, Kakeru ends up re-evaluating the role he has chosen. In hopes of one day being able to enter the World Cup by becoming a member of the national team, Kakeru trains harder than anyone else. He isn't alone in this quest for glory, though Kakeru's childhood friend Nana is a soccer prodigy of her own, with the wicked name Little Witch. She is a top-ranked player and is already playing for Nadeshiko Japan, the Japanese women's national team. Nana's success gives Kakeru the extra push he needs to reach for his goals. Soccer and adolescent fervor combine for an epic emotional ride. Check it out for yourself in Area no Kichi. 1 outs. Towa Tokushi is a prodigy when it comes to both baseball and gambling. Pitching nothing but mediocre fastballs, he has made a name for himself by attaining 499 consecutive victories in the game of 1 outs, a one-on-one showdown between a pitcher and a batter. Despite his remarkable abilities, however, Tokushi sees the sport as nothing more than a way to make some quick money. When Hiromichi Kojima, a legendary hitter for the Saitama Lycans, witnesses Tokushi's skills firsthand, he realizes that the man might be exactly what the team needs to get out of this slump. Determined to recruit Tokuchi no matter what, Kojima places his own career on the line and defeats Tokuchi at his own specialty, 1 outs. Forced to become a Lycan, Tokuchi soon finds himself at odds with the team's owner, Tsuneo Saikawa. After Saikawa refuses to give him a reasonable salary, Tokuchi proposes a special contract. Pitching an out will earn him 5 million yen, but giving up a run will cost him 50 million, with every game having the potential to either make or break him. Will Tokushi be able to outwit those who stand in his way? Last but not least, Ping Pong the animation. The hero comes 3 times. Chant these words in your mind and I will surely come to you. This mantra is what Makoto Tsukimoto repeats as a source of motivation when he fights through the stress of not only grueling ping pong matches but also in situations of his life. Makoto doesn't fight alone. He and his friend Yutaka Hoshino, nicknamed Smile and Peiko respectively, are 2 boys who have grown up playing ping pong together nearly every day. Peiko, brimming with confidence, aims to be the best table tennis player in the world. Smile, on the other hand, shows little ambition. Nevertheless, the two have always stuck together with a bond built upon their mutual love for this sport. Every year, students from all across Japan gather for the Inter-High Table Tennis competition to achieve national and international stardom. Through intense training and competition, only the very best persevere. Ping Pong the animation serves a tale of ambition with its fair share of bumps along the way. Whatever the odds, Peiko and Smile would face them together. So this was my list for the top sports anime of all time according to what I have watched. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you anime fans on the next video here on COCKTAILANI. Take care.